Hi, welcome to Granny Annie Creates. Today I'm going to show you how to make this simple phone case. And this is just single crochets, stitches, starting with a chain stitch, and then as I say, single crochet and a colour change. So 3 very simple things that you can do quite quickly as a beginner when you follow my tutorial today. So we're going to start with a slip knot, tying the yarn onto our hook. I'll do that again for you beginners. So loop the yarn, and the bit you'd normally pull through to knot it is the bit that goes over your crochet hook and on. But yeah, so however you can tie your yarn to your hook, so you've got one piece on the hook, is good. Then we're going to chain stitch, and we're going to do 20. A chain stitch is where you bring the yarn over your hook and down through. Yarn over your hook and down through. I apologise for my washing machine. I did try and pause it, but it wouldn't have it. So there we go. You can tell that this is live. So we've done 1, 2, 3, over and down through, 4, 5, 6. And if you're learning to hold your crochet, my favourite way of holding it is between my thumb and forefinger with the work, and the next 2 fingers clamping the yarn, the working yarn, and then with my hand that I write with, which is my right hand, but whichever, whether you're left-handed or not, just the hand that you write with, if you use the hook in that hand, you can get a good motion going once you learn how to do. So yeah, thumb and forefinger, next 2 fingers clamping the yarn, and then you can bring it over the hook and down through. And this is the chain stitch, and it's how you start most of your crochet projects. The other way is to start in the round, but we want a nice flat piece of work that we're going to fold in half and sew up the edges to make our wonderful phone case. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This will be 18, 19, 20. And there we go. There's our nice starting chain. So we're going to do a row of single crochet. Sorry, this is the single crochet phone holder, which is suitable for beginners and anyone that wants to make a lovely phone holder. So the single crochet stitch, you go in your work, bring the yarn over the hook and bring it back with you. So you've now got 2 on the hook, bring the yarn over again and work those 2 off. And this is the American single stitch. I teach American terminology because it just makes more sense when it comes to crochet. So you go in, bring the yarn back with you, round and off. It's actually the UK double, but as I say, I teach American single stitch, American stitch name, so this is the single to me. So the single stitch, you go in, bring the yarn back round with you, round and off. And you're going to do this all the way along into each of your chain stitches from the previous row. And the way you can work out whether you've worked a stitch or not, the next one we're going to go into is there. But you might think to yourself, oh, there's, might be one in there. Just sort of pull it back and have a look if there's any extra yarn in there. And there is. There's the last stitch that we've done. So we're going to go in on that next one there. Don't worry about how many stitches you've got too much while you're learning to crochet. Just get the flow of the stitch in your head first. And then you can worry about stitch placement and getting the right count of stitches. So probably the first couple of times you try this, it might not be very straight and it might be a bit wonky, but keep your first bit of crochet as well, because it's always good to see how far you've come. And just, yeah, don't expect to be brilliant straight away. It takes hours of practice, but hours of fun too, to get really good. But then again, it takes like 10 minutes to pick it up and start. So crochet is really lovely like that. So we're doing a single crochet all the way along. And the single crochet is hook in, yarn over, bring it back to the front of the work, yarn over, and work those two off. As I say, that's the American single crochet stitch. So when you look at books and patterns and things, you'll be able to find out if it's a UK book written in UK terms or US terms, and you'll by following my channel, you'll be able to read the US terms, and a lot of patterns are in US terminology nowadays online. So we're just single crocheting all the way along. Nearly to the end. As I say, don't worry too much about your stitch count at this point when you're learning. But there is that last little one to be had in there, which is usually a bit fiddly to poke it in, but it goes in eventually. And then bring the yarn back round and off. And there we have our first row of single crochet. And if it's your first row ever, well done. You'll soon be hooked on crochet. So that's your first row of single crochet. I will do one more in the purple and then I'll show you how to change colour. So you give yourself a turn-in chain and then you turn the work. And then we're going to work back along here with the same stitch that we've just been doing, the single crochet. So that turn-in chain actually works that first stitch. So we're in on that second. And the proper placement, once you get to row 2, it's not as easy on row 1. That's why I didn't bother mentioning it. But on row 2, the proper placement is under these two parts, because if you just go under one, it goes a bit loopy. And if you just go in the back one, it's a bit loopy too. But patterns will ask you to work into the front or the back. But if it doesn't say, that's how it should be placed. So once you put your hook in, bring the yarn back with you, round and off. And then in on the next one, and say under the 2. So you've got like a V on top of your... My online crochet course shows this really well as I use a variegated yarn. And so if you're interested in that, it's at granieanie.com. And I have an online course that teaches you from beginner, and it has different projects to make. And really good fun. So yeah, check that out on granieanie.com. But for now, we're doing a single crochet all the way along. Oh, and there's also my free ebook on beginner stitches. That's on my website also, granieanie.com. So you can read how to do these stitches as well as watch me on my video and work along at your own pace. You can rewatch me as many times as you like. And yeah, get to love crochet as much as I do. Once you can crochet, you can make anything. It's yeah, it's very, very liberating being able to make things. Very relaxing as well. You'll never feel lonely or bored again. So we're just doing the single crochet all the way to the end. And once we've reached the end, we will have done our chain, foundation chain, and 2 rows of single crochet. And when you get to the end of your line, there's one more stitch to be had there. It doesn't look particularly like a stitch, but it is. And if you miss it, your work will start decreasing in on itself. But not to worry too much at this stage. Yeah, so that's our first block of colour on our phone case. We're now going to change to this colour, and I'll show you a couple of colour changes just so you get the hang of it. So grab yourself a new ball of wool and tie it on to the working yarn of your previous colour, just like that, and then tuck it to the top so it's right by the hook. You can do a double knot if you want it to really be secure, so just knot it again, tuck it to the top, and then instead of working with the light purple, we're going to work with the purpley pink, and we're going to bring it down through what's on the hook, and we're away with the new colour. So we're going to go in on that next one with a single crochet, and then you just carry on working in the new colour all the way along with single crochets. So going in, bring the yarn back out with you, round and off. I'm just going to snip that one so you haven't got too many ends that you're looking at. You don't need to, it's just easier for the camera. So we're going to go in, bring the yarn back out, round and off. We're still doing that single crochet, stitch, very simple, one stitch, but look how amazing that looks with the colour change. But we're just continuing to do the same stitch on every row, just with a different colour, and it just looks like, wow, really nice. When I learnt to crochet, I just did a blanket in single crochet stitch, and I just kept thinking to myself, this is the single crochet stitch. So I get the name of the stitch in my head and the flow of the stitch in my motor skills. And then when you come to reading patterns, you won't have to think to yourself, oh, I wonder what single crochet stitch is, because you just know, you've done it loads of times in a blanket, that you just know what a single crochet stitch is. So then you can concentrate on where they're placing them on the pattern. So just single crochet all the way along, and then I'll show you that colour change one more time. So this time I'm not going to work back with the pinky colour. I mean, I could, but I haven't in this one. I've just done one row of single. So I'm going to tie on the colour at this end. So it's a different way of tying on. Last time we tied on to the colour that we were working with, and then we carried on working. This time I'm going to cut off. So I'm going to cast off this one colour that we've just used. And then I'm purposely not going to turn my work. I'm just going to tie it on this end, the next colour, and then work along. So we take our new colour, poke our hook in at the end of the work, put the yarn over the hook and bring it down through, and then bring the little end. So just basically tie in this new colour onto the end of our work. So you can do this with like a bit of knitting. If you wanted to crochet a border, you would just simply tie on your new colour, put your hook in and bring that, oh, too many ends, bring that bit of yarn back with you like that, round and off, and that's got a chain on it now. So we're going to work back along here with the new colour. So we're just going to go in, round, and work those two off. 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 And as you can see, you've got your colour change now. So you can keep doing that. I've done 3 colour changes here and then gone back to the base mauvey purple to the end of my phone case. But yeah, you can keep changing colours as much as you like, or just keep to one colour and just do the single crochet stitch all the way along. And the single is in, round and out, round and off. And when you get to the end, don't forget your turning chain of 1. So for our phone case, here's one I made earlier. So I've left my ends. So there's my crochet, just single crochet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sewing needle with a big eye. I'm going to take one of these ends, so I've got the end here, and I'm just going to thread my needle, fold my project in half, and then I'm going to sew up the sides up there, and I'm going to use those ends to sew in there and along here, and then it's going to give us a phone case that's going to be open at this end and joined on the side. So I'll just show you how to sew your sides together. Take one little bit of yarn from this side and one little bit of yarn from the corresponding stitch on that side, and just, I believe this is called whip stitching together. So the 2 sides come together like that. So you just take one bit of that stitch and one bit of that stitch. So you don't want both bits of the stitch because then it'll be quite a bulky seam. So just one bit of each is enough to hold your project together but not give you a bulky seam. And there. And then to sew in your end, just work back on yourself, pushing it down through all those stitches to the other end and pull it, and then we can cut off there. And as I say, I'll use purple to sew up this bit, and then when I get to these bits I'll use the corresponding bit of thread to sew up those couple of stitches in pink and purple. I'll just show you the pink one because then you'll know what I mean. So just thread a needle, line up my pink, the darker pink stitches. And I'm going to take that one and sew them together, on that side and that side. I sew them together and then work my end in and then cut it off. And then you can see that you can't see where the seam is, and I'll sew up along there just like I did there. And then we have our phone case. So there's my phone case, beginner friendly, single crochet stitch. So starting with a chain stitch, single crochet stitch, colour change, and sewing up. And there you have a phone case. So if you like my video today, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe, and share it with all your friends. And yeah, share some photos with what you've made. That'd be great. Check out grannyanie.com, and I'll see you next time. Hi, if you're liking my content today, it'd be great if you could hit the like button, share and subscribe. This will help other people find my channel and I really appreciate it. And if you want to connect further with me and in my crochet world, click the comment section below and there'll be links to my free ebook on beginner crochet stitches, my patterns, and tons of other stuff to help you with your crochet, knitting and sewing. Thanks for watching.